This is the Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. Episode 65, recorded July 14th, 2016. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. I am your host and editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. My name is Tyson, and joining me today, as always, is our keeper of comics here at TV Enthusiast, Will Rorick.
Hello.
So today we are going to be talking about the new HBO series, The Night Of. We'll also be talking about Mr. Robot, which Will has almost finished season 1, so he's gotten some of the biggest twists, so we're going to go over those. I made notes to make sure I don't spoil him, of things I wanted to bring up and areas I wanted to center on. And then we are going to continue our show club discussion of Peaky Blinders. So that's what this episode is about. So let's get started with The Night Of. Now, we'll just watch this episode, the first episode of the season. The second episode's on Sunday. It's HBO series, of course, every Sunday. But you watched the first episode finally for this series. Just blanket statement. What do you think?
Good. Very, very well done. Just very this is really real.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It felt so impeccably real, but kind of outlandish at the same right time, just how things lined up and went together.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he's got pulled over and was literally in front of the crime scene in the police car for all that time and then taken to the station, and that kind of stuff is a little bit unrealistic. It's a little too convenient, but the way it's paced and the way the people talk and just that aspect of it is incredibly realistic.
Yeah, it is.
That's the thing. I just love how it's almost like you're like a fly on the wall as everything's happening, and people are talking in a really naturalistic way, and it's just little mistakes they make here and there, or little just kind of formalities and different. It's just interesting the way it all comes together. Yeah, I really dug it. So
that's what pulled me in mostly, was the way it came together, and the acting was on point. The characters were on point. Jesus, I already love John Turturro's character.
I just love John Turturro.
Yeah, it's probably just John Turturro because he's awesome.
Yeah, but him showing up as this lawyer and kind of biting off more than he can chew, not really realizing exactly what the case is before he takes it.
Yeah, he just takes this case and then he doesn't even know what it's about,
He just hears that he cut a girl or something like that, and he thinks it's this domestic abuse kind of case or something. Doesn't realize that it's this huge murder trial.
Oh my
he's
God!
Got himself caught up in
trial of the century stuff. Yeah.
It was crazy. I loved just how certain scenes played out. I loved when he discovered her body.
Yeah.
And he turned on the light and you don't see anything. You just see the blood on the lampshade of the light and his face. And then he quickly turns it off again, and it's just kind of quiet for a bit. And then he turns it back on, just kind of like a double check, I didn't see that. That wasn't real, and then he turns it back on to kind of confirm. He wants to confirm the lie in his head. This didn't happen. This is not what I'm seeing, And then he sees her and just flips out, doesn't know what to do. He just tries to bail. And in doing so, just basically makes every possible mistake he could to incriminate himself.
He is such an amateur. He's this is no master criminal, that's for sure.
Even coming back in and breaking the window, which kind of got the one person's attention. Not only that, but it made it look like he broke in instead of he was there with her.
Right.
It looked like he broke in and raped and murdered her. And it goes from being he was with her and then she died to this whole other thing.
Because he goes out this guy, this neighbor, hears the commotion, and he comes out to his window and he sees him doing all this stuff, and it's just now you have a witness.
Yeah.
It's
and just the weird the moment which I think is a bigger clue. So but the moment where the two black guys are going down the street and the one just calls out a racist comment about the guy, and then he's all, excuse me, it was, for me it was the same thing. It's I heard him say something but I didn't even catch what he said. And then when he's excuse me, what did you just say? I was yeah, what did he say? And then he said it. I'm like, oh shit, it's just like so confrontational. But what really struck me in that scene was like the guy's friend, not the loudmouth, but the guy's friend has had this weird, creepy look on his.
Yeah, just he was just staring at him like this death stare, like.
Yeah, and then later on when the loudmouth,
it's not really addressed like at all afterwards either. It's like that guy disappears completely from the episode.
Yeah, the loudmouth guy shows up again.
He shows up again.
And
his
then
friend is nowhere to be found.
You were by yourself, and he says, "Yeah." He
said yeah,
himself, which he wasn't.
Yeah, he was with that other guy who is not mentioned again nor seen again. It's
stuff like that I really liked about it. It's just so like what the fuck was that? And it's like it's not really addressed. There wasn't too much attention called upon it. Like you notice it, but it's not like they hit some dramatic musical note and cut to him, and like.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. Like it was just kind of like this weird kind of like, what the fuck was that? And then like, oh wait, there's something else going on. Like this could be connected to something else. And it gets those gears turning in your head. Like, cause you have to wonder, like it looks like he did it. Like the main character did it.
Well, he was there.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, like,
he was doing drugs.
Exactly.
This chick was crazy as fuck. This chick was batshit insane. You could almost believe, he was high as fuck. They were having sex, and she started asking him to like cut her and shit during it. Yeah. And it's like, and it's like he probably did it. He probably like said, "Oh, you want me?" And
Well, that's the thing. It's like this series could end up with a confirmation that yes, in fact, he did do it, and it wouldn't feel like a waste.
Yeah.
Because it feels like genuine enough that you feel like, yeah, he could have done this. Not that he was in control of himself, but he could have done this and did completely forget that he did it. Just completely like out of it,
Yeah, because he was completely out of it. He did ecstasy, he did like cocaine or whatever,
and then they're playing alcohol, a little stabby game with the knife on the table.
This chick was like just out of her gourd anyway. It's like he had no business. You see, it's like funny because like the whole time, the first half, I'm like basically just sitting there going, you idiot, stop being an idiot. Don't do that. This chick is crazy. What the hell are you doing? Stop it. Ditch your ass. Oh my god. Now you're doing drugs? Goddamn idiot. She does like the little stabbing game and she kind of stabs between her hands and has him do it. And then she's like, do it on me. And then she does it and it pulls down and you see that he literally stabbed the knife through her hand. And then you're like, okay, so now at least one of the stab wounds on her body is in fact from him, and his prints are on the knife. Yeah.
It's just such a bad situation. It's like a comedy of errors. It's like, man, it's just constant mess ups, but it doesn't like I say it's a comedy of errors, but it doesn't feel ridiculous and stupid. It just feels almost like fate's conspiring against him. So It's really fascinating. I can't wait to watch more. I just love the setting of it. The main character, for some reason, like I didn't even pick up on the fact that he's supposed to be like Arab, he just looked like a typical like 1980s like New York kid or something to me.
Wait, you didn't pick up the fact that
I kept thinking of like Ralph Macchio.
You didn't pick up on the fact that he was Pakistani or something, like.
Yeah, I would just see him and think like Ralph Macchio the whole time.
Does kind of look like Ralph Macchio, actually, now that you bring that up.
And just, like, it's not like he's an immigrant with like an accent, like he has a New York accent,
Yeah, because he was born in America. He was like naturalized, but his parents are from Pakistan, and he's so
that's going to end up coming into play.
There's going to be like this, this prejudice element, this racism element to it. This is going to come into play, So, as far as most juries are concerned, he's screwed already just because of who he is.
Yeah, and then you take in like the account of just the drugs in his system and the fact that he was in the room and the mistakes he's made in trying to like get out of there. it just, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem like there's a chance in hell for him. And I feel like this is going to be like heavily about his relationship with this lawyer, John Turturro's character, and about kind of like how he weeds through this. And I feel like it's going to turn into this like legal hero show, kind of like a To Kill a Mockingbird type of thing, you know, where you get really invested in the idea of this lawyer trying to do right, you know?
Right.
And I'm kind of excited about that. This is very unlike anything on TV. It's interesting because, I saw some articles that had headlines like, you know, this is, you know, like, it's like a True Detective, you know, but this is like HBO's new True Detective, The Night Of, you know, and I'm like, in some ways, yeah, cause it's like, it's a crime drama and it's like, it's like coming at it from a completely different direction.
It really is. I would not make that comparison. That's just dumb clickbait comparison.
Yeah.
These are two completely different shows.
But they are both like top of the line, like crime dramas.
Yeah,
you know
they're
what
both,
I mean?
yeah.
It's just like, I think the parallel is interesting because of that. Because they are so different, yet they're coming from basically like the same genre heading. You know, like, so I think the comparison is interesting just because of that. Like, it's inaccurate, but it's interesting just because it's like, yeah, that is true. Like, this is, HBO had True Detective as a big hit. They blew it with season 2. They lost all the goodwill. And now you have this new show and you got this mystery set up and it's really interesting and it's gonna make people obsessed in the same way like True Detective did, but it's coming at it from a completely different angle. It's kind of like, you know, it's a completely different take on that style of genre, you know, so there's nothing else on TV like it, which is great. So yep, that is, The Night Of. Did you have anything else to add?
Nope. I think we covered it pretty much.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to Mr. Robot. So Will was able to watch all but the last 2 episodes of season 1. So the first 8 episodes, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to do my damnedest to be spoiler free for anything beyond that, but we're going full on spoilers as we always do when we discuss something, for what Will has watched here. So the first 8 episodes of season 1 are all fair game. So you'd watched the first episode when we did the last podcast and we're struck by just the quality of the show. And we're like, okay, I love this show. I have to keep watching it. What do you think having watched like another 7 episodes?
I love the show. It's amazing. It's my new favorite show. You were right about this show. You were so right about this. And I slept on it because like, I think like I saw a teaser or something. I'm like,
And last week we talked about what was perhaps the best element of the show, what makes the show really work. Is just the idea of this kind of unreliable narrator.
Also, it wasn't like easy for me to like access or watch, so I think
it was kind of confusing with the right situation. Right now, for anybody who does want to catch up on season 1, if you haven't, it's on Amazon. That's where you can get it. If you have Amazon Prime, it's freely available there. If you don't, you'd have to buy the season, but that's pretty much, I think, the only way to watch all of season 1 right now, streaming. Season 2 is out. You can catch the episodes for that. The old episodes on USA's website. I think they might pop up on Hulu. I'm not sure if they have or not. But yeah, that's where those are.
They're on Amazon. Yep. Amazon, I guess, got the rights for USA shows or something. I have no clue.
They have some kind of deal with NBC Universal because Hannibal was exclusive to Amazon as well.
Yeah. So that's where I'm watching them currently. I'm watching them on Amazon. I'll probably buy the new season off of iTunes so I can watch that as that comes out. But I am totally addicted to this show so much. Like, I love the main character. I love Elliot. I love the fact that he is so goddamn awkward. Like
his inability to read social cues. Yeah, it's such a cool thing in the show.
That's a cool thing. Yeah, because he comes off as like he can read people. You know, like he can read people. He can know what they're about. He's very observant, very intelligent. Obviously,
He just doesn't know how to interact with them.
He just doesn't know how to interact with people at all. There's this one episode where he has to infiltrate this data facility, and he has to get this guy to give him a tour, and this guy's giving him a hard time. And like Mr. Robot is there with the earpiece talking to him, telling him what to say to this guy, to like convince this guy. Elliot just can't do that. He can't communicate and make this happen. That's how goddamn, socially awkward he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even to get this done, he can't manipulate people like that through words. In fact, the only thing that gets him in is the fact that they edited a Wikipedia page to make him out to be like a more important person than he really is.
Kind of like a .com billionaire type, which is perfect because a lot of the .com like billionaire guys are like autistic and
yeah.
So it just makes sense at that point. Like he just kind of fits that.
Because there's a point where like during that scene, like he becomes frustrated with his own inability to make it happen. He's just like, F this, I'm leaving. This isn't happening. And like Mr. Robot's like, no, you're a .com billionaire. Just they're always weird. Just roll with it.
Yeah. And then he ends up having to he ends up with an even tougher challenge after that guy. There's a female, I think, that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah,
somebody else was there,
and they're not prepared for her being there.
And they end up basically figuring out they can send her a message on her phone that's just generic enough but it's heightened but generic, so it gets her attention. It inspires kind of like fear and nervousness in her, but at the same time it's generic enough that they don't really have to know her or her situation to have it work out.
No.
They basically send her, I think the message says something like, I'm at the hospital, it's what we feared.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, there's all sorts of interesting uses of hacking, and that's all social engineering hacks. You
basically see in the show the vast majority of hacking is social engineering. It's not just like there's this one scene in the one episode where the two hackers working for F Society, they're talking about they're watching some movie or something where this ridiculous hacking is happening, and the one guy goes, "Man, I've been doing this for 30 years. I never had a piece of malware sing to me or something." And he's like, the other guy's like, "Yeah, I've never flown over a Tron city before."
I think they were watching Hackers, which is the old movie with I think Angelina Jolie was in it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't actually familiar with the movie they were watching, so but it was
it's actually one of the more well-liked hacker movies, and that just says how bad hacker movies are.
That just says how bad hacker movies are. like there's this running commentary. It's like
yeah, so that's there's so much great going on here. I'm just I'm looking over my notes on what I can bring up. So one of the episodes that really got me that I was kind of stunned by was the episode dealing with Shayla and her the drug dealer that she worked for, and he was in jail, and Elliot had to break him out of jail.
Yeah. Yep. Elliot had to. That was heartbreaking. That was a heartbreaking episode, especially the ending. That whole episode was just tense as fuck. And then you get to the ending where Shayla, they killed Shayla anyway, and that was all for nothing.
Way before, yeah.
Yeah, that was way before. That was all for nothing. And I was like, fuck. You felt Elliot's pain at the end of that episode.
You also feel a sense of rage, you're Elliot, fucking destroy this guy,
Yeah, I know, right?
Look at the shit you're doing. Destroy this man now, But yeah, it's such a rough episode with that. But it was so brilliant too, with the way he was able to hack the prison system, and hacking the police car by having what's her name, Darlene get close to the car,
Yep.
All these little tricks he had to do, and how he had to keep changing and adjusting his plan in order to do it. And then the eventual plan he had was he basically just let the entire prison out.
Yeah, he just let the entire, because, well, they figured it would be too convenient if Vera was the only person who got released. They'd be able to trace that right back too.
Mm-hmm. So they basically just had to open up all of them. And it's just kind of like the ethical dilemma of what, Elliot being this kind of like vigilante hacker is trying to do the right thing, ends up having to do a very bad thing in order to do the right thing, or do what he thinks is going to lead to the right thing, which is, saving Shayla. But in doing so, it was all for a waste. So it's like only the negative, net, only the negative net, profit, I guess, or whatever, of the situation came to fruition. So, that was a harsh episode. I want to talk a little bit about, Tyrell and Joanna Bellick.
Yeah, let's talk about Patrick Bateman.
What's interesting here is that we saw Tyrell in the first episode, but we didn't see Joanna at all.
No, we didn't see Joanna, Tyrell's wife.
She is like the creepiest, darkest character in the whole show, I think.
She is. Like, Tyrell is like creepy too, because, like I told you, he has this whole Patrick Bateman thing going on.
Yeah. But she's like so much worse. It's scary.
It is. And the thing that's scary about her is, like, there are plenty of times where you see Tyrell, where you see he's unhinged, he's about to break, you see that veneer. He tries to hold up this veneer, but it cracks pretty damn easily.
And she's just completely, it is no veneer. She is just cold.
She is just cold. She is just calm. She doesn't stress about anything.
God, the scene where she was just talking to Elliot on the street.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
have like the
what? She never met Elliot.
Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. I won't say anything else. Sorry. Damn it. I screwed up on that one, but now you know that they talk.
Okay. Yeah, well, the show's ruined for me now. I don't think I'm going to finish it. Thank you.
There's dialogue.
No. What the fuck? Ah! That's okay. I went to see a movie the other day, and a trailer for like season 2 ran, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to know this shit. Stop it. Why is it gotta be like on a giant screen in front of me with surround sound? I can't even cover my ears and not hear it. Ugh. I just want to watch Independence Day, not get spoiled on Mr. Robot. From
what I've heard, it sounds like watching Independence Day was the bigger mistake.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's get back to the show. Let's talk about Tyrell and Joanna. She's creepy. Tyrell ends up killing somebody.
Yep, the guy who was tapped to be the new CTO of Evil Corp. It was his wife. Tyrell ends up killing her, going the full Patrick Bateman there. Tyrell ends up killing her. I don't think that's part of the plan, because when he goes back to Joanna, Joanna's talking like she doesn't have a clue what's going on with that. It sounded like the plan was just for him to seduce her and to cause a scandal around that.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up killing her, and I don't know what the fallout from that's going to be still. The cops.
It was not according to plan for Joanna, but she was still just completely undisturbed.
Yeah, she was, yeah. Well, she was unmoved. I don't think she even knows what happens at this point. Oh, I think she knows now because the cops visited the apartment and started asking questions. So
before I spoil something else, did something happen with that scene?
Oh, well, basically Joanna stabs herself or something. It makes it look like her water's gonna break.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't want to spoil that in case that hadn't happened, but just again showing just how far she's willing to go.
Yep. And then another big mindfuck happened where it's like you see a scene where Mr. Robot and Tyrell,
Slater's character and Tyrell, yeah.
Yep, they're having a conversation. Apparently they're in cahoots for some reason that is unknown. It's not explained what's going on there,
It starts to put doubts in your mind about, cause through the whole thing, I mean, even from the first episode, I remember after the first episode, I wrote an article, and I think like the first line of the article I wrote was, Mr. Robot is Fight Club. And that's like the word I used to describe it. I was saying like, it's Fight Club, and I mean that in the best of ways. That it's like, it doesn't feel like a ripoff of Fight Club, like tonally it feels like it is Fight Club. And very early on, most people seem to suspect, okay, well that means Mr. Robot's not real. That his character isn't real. And then you're like, okay, so when are we going to see that? When are we going to see the scene that reveals like, oh, he's all just in Elliot's head? But then when you watch,
oh jeez, that would be such a dumb twist. That would be like, you were comparing this to Fight Club. That would be the Fight Club twist, and I don't think that would work so well here, because then it would just like make Mr. Robot feel like it really is just a ripoff of Fight Club, which would be like, no. And I would not like that. If Mr. Robot wasn't actually a real person, I would probably just quit the show cold turkey, because that would be like the dumbest twist. There is a pretty freaking huge twist. That's not it. Thankfully. So far, that's not it. Maybe that will be it. I don't know. The show can do anything, I feel. But, so basically, yeah, this scene starts putting to doubts, like, the motivation of the character, like, the motivation of the characters, like, what's Mr. Robot's real motivation if he's talking to Tyrell? Mm-hmm. But then on the flip side, maybe what is Tyrell's motivation? Maybe, why is Tyrell and Joanna so adamant on him getting that CTO position? Is it maybe sabotage purposes? Mm-hmm. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. Who's playing for what team? On either side here.
Yeah, it seems like everybody on the show, like every character that seems like, oh, they're just the entrenched person in this company. It's like, no, they have their own thing.
They have their own agenda.
You know, their own agenda. And, you know, who knows who they had to kill or cause disaster upon to get to their current position. But they're not done playing yet.
And that meeting, that one singular meeting there that they showed, made me question who are the good guys and who are the bad guys on the show, or are there just not any good guys and bad guys, and like everybody is involved with everybody else and using everybody else for their own agendas.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of like makes you go like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. That was like a huge what the fuck moment that kind of like twisted everything around to put everything into perspective, because, you know, before you could say, okay, well, Mr. Robot, you know, he's mysterious, but maybe he's got good intentions. Tyrell is an evil psychopath, so he's obviously the bad guy. And then this flipped all that on its head and made you question everything you just assumed about this show. Mm. So that was a very important scene, I thought.
So in the most recent episode you saw, it had some huge events. Episode 8 that kind of all came out around the same time.
Before
we get to I think there were two big kind of like shock reveal moments. Before we get to those,
I think there's only like
a new character in this episode.
I think there's only one big shock reveal moment in this episode, really, but.
Okay. Well, you can walk me through it, because you've seen it more recently than I have, but, you do get a new character reveal in this episode. Yeah. Somebody named the White Rose.
The White Rose, who's like, it basically the leader of the Dark Army that they keep mentioning, which is like a Asian-based hacking group, based out of China, from what I understand. They're very dangerous. They're pretty much like a renegade hacking group. We got introduced to them earlier in the season via this one guy who actually tricks
connected to Darlene.
Yeah, well, he's dating Darlene, apparently, or he has some relationship with her. Because, you know, that's how through Darlene, that's how F Society gets an in with the Dark Army, and that's how they're confident in going forward with their initial plan, because there's redundancies in China, and the Dark Army promises to take care of that. But that's not the big thing. We get introduced because Angela's boyfriend basically gets a CD from this guy, you know, basically working for them. He's pretending to be.
Listen to my mixtape.
Yeah, he's listen to my mixtape. I'm some indie artist trying to get some cred. And you know, you would think to yourself, I work at a cybersecurity facility. You know, I'm supposed to be a cybersecurity expert, but yeah, I'm gonna put some random CD from some random guy in my computer because lols, I guess.
There is some sense to it though, because on one hand, just going around, I mean, I've never been to New York, but just going around Los Angeles, I can't count the number of, like, you know, CDs I've gotten from people going like, check out my CD. This is my music, you know? Like, that happens all the time. Like, when I've been out in, like, Los Angeles area, like when I've been out, at clubs and stuff or something. But on top of that is just the idea of, like, where do people even have CD players now? For most people, it's probably their computer. Like, I don't listen. I don't have a dedicated CD player, you know? A lot of people don't even have them in their cars anymore, but I don't even think we even saw any evidence that he even had a car because he lives in New York and not many people in New York City have cars.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes sense. Like, okay, you give somebody a CD because that's a common occurrence. That's not like, oh, this is shocking. Somebody's handing me a CD. It's like, no, that happens in cities. People do that. So it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then where's the person going to play the CD? They're going to play it in their computer because everybody's moved away from CDs, you know? So it's that I just thought that was kind of an interesting way that paired up, that like, it just makes sense. Of course, you know, if he was smart, he wouldn't put it in his computer. Like Elliot would have never put that in his computer. But we've seen before plenty of evidence that he's not exact smart.
Yeah, we've seen before plenty of evidence. Yeah, that dude is definitely not that smart. But so basically that's how we get So basically it's kind of interesting because, you know, they were sort of in the background of the plot. The plot turned to where they were bailing out of the whole operation. They needed to bring them back in. Darlene manages to convince them to set up a meeting, but White Rose will only meet with Elliot.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically that's that meeting, and yeah, White Rose is every bit as eccentric as what you would expect a reclusive Chinese hacker to be. She like very obsessed with time.
Mm-hmm. It was fascinating because Elliot has his kind of like autistic leanings, his like I'd say tics, but that's not the correct term, you know? His little things he has, and then you see like this whole other kind of take on that kind of thing, you know? With this person that has their own kind of habits and their system and their way of doing things that's so specific and tight. So yeah, it just instantly introduces you to this character as somebody who's fascinating that you need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, although I don't know if we're going to see that character again. That character isn't the type of character that's just going to keep popping up and be like, oh, hey, me, because...
At the very least, you know, you're going to hear about the Dark Army.
Yeah, you're going to hear, but yeah, at the very least, the Dark Army still...
Her presence will be felt.
Her presence will be felt. Or maybe it's a him, I don't know. The actor is a man.
Yeah. It's portrayed as like a trans female.
Okay, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, trans female. But you know, that was interesting, but not as interesting at the end of the episode where Elliot being completely the social awkward dork that he actually is. You know, he's talking to Darla.
Darlene,
yeah, he's talking to Darlene, and you know, she says she loves him, and he reaches over and he kisses her, totally freaking her out.
Well, even before then, it was kind of awkward. Like he didn't know how to process that.
Yeah, he didn't know how to process that. You know, he just like, yeah, it kind of comes out of nowhere. But you know, I could kind of see his perspective where he's coming from. He misreads her and thinks like they're having this moment, and then he goes in to kiss her, and she gets taken aback. She's freaked out. Like she starts going, "Don't you know who I am? Don't you even know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah, you're Darlene. You're Darlene." And this is viewer, you don't know what's going on. As the viewer, you have no no clue what the hell is
right in Elliot's
happening
headspace.
You're like, what happened? You're right in Elliot's headspace because Elliot is thinking, hey, what just happened? And you're right there with him because you're sitting there going, what just happened? What was this? What's going on here? So you're thinking the same thoughts Elliot's thinking. Like the show just tricked you into thinking the same thing Elliot's thinking, getting you right in his headspace, which is brilliant. I love how brilliant the show is at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're thinking you're having the same thoughts run through your head as the viewer, and it's like, holy shit, it was a big holy shit moment. Then she drops the bomb. She's like, I'm your sister, and it's like, what? Elliot has a sister? This was never mentioned.
I thought they did. Like, I can't remember, but I thought they did mention.
I don't
remember. They never showed her. Like, they showed a scene with a girl on a bike.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And like, he had like a memory scene or something, I think. And it was like a memory of his childhood. It was like a dream memory type thing, like an inaccurate thing. And like, he saw like a girl ride up on a bike or something. And it was like basically implying that there was this girl from his childhood that had this kind of connection to him or something in some way. And possibly a sister. I think there was something along those lines. It's been so long since I've seen it, so.
But
it was
yeah.
very cleverly done, is how
So,
I remember it.
all this is rushing back. Like now Elliot is freaked out, confused as hell. He goes back home, he gets on his computer, and he tries to basically look himself up. Because obviously now there's stuff that he didn't even know about himself, which has really got him freaked out.
It's not like she was his sister that, he never met or something.
Yeah, no, it's his sister that he grew up with.
Yeah.
So he should know this. He should be aware of who she is, and he wasn't. And so that freaks him out in the worst way possible. To where he goes and he looks himself up, and he can't find anything at all about himself. And then he realizes that he deleted everything, and he put it on a CD, that he keeps. His CDs full of people and their information.
Mm-hmm.
He deletes off of his computer. He puts in the CD, and he sees pictures of Mr. Robot. Not just pictures of Mr. Robot, pictures of Mr. Robot with him and his sister as children.
Yeah.
And then that's when the realization, oh shit, Mr. Robot is his dad.
That was the second twist. That was
the second twist. Okay, so yeah, if you want to view it, you can view it as two twists. But yeah, the whole F Society and Elliot are just one big happy family, like literally.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It's a very eventful episode. The entire series is really amazing, though.
It is.
So yeah, I mean that's a good point to end on because that's basically the last thing you've seen.
Yes.
So we'll cut back in next week, and at that point, I believe will probably be bar some kind of crazy occurrence. He should be completely caught up on Mr. Robot. And we'll be talking about everything at that point. So I won't be having to kind of like look around and go like, am I going too far? Am I not? We'll be like right on topic, right on the same page. So I'm looking forward to that. So tune in next week to hear us do that. But now let's get to our main topic of conversation, which is our Peaky Blinders Show Club. So, today we're going to be talking about episode 4 of season 2, which is also the 10th episode of the series as a whole. Trying to think of exactly where to approach to go in to talk about this episode. I'll just say my favorite scene was, Darby Sabini and Alfie having their little meeting.
Yeah, that was good. I love that meeting. That was, I just love Tom Hardy in this.
Sabini, so good.
Sabini is good too. Tom Hardy is so good. Yeah, that was a fun scene. They're getting ready to team up against Thomas. Thomas finally realizes the conspiracy he's caught up in, which is basically like, geez, I have to open these show notes. Inspector Campbell.
Yeah.
And these two people, I'm not quite sure who
they're
they
the
are.
IRA members. It's Irene O'Donnell. I don't know who the guy is, but Irene O'Donnell is the woman, and she's an IRA agent.
And it's kind of funny, Inspector Campbell working with the IRA, but it's for It's for like a mutually beneficial end, which I don't think is fully to be revealed, but they're basically setting up Tommy as the fall guy.
There's supposed to be some type of assassination.
Yeah, there's supposed to be
that's what Winston Churchill had mentioned, something about an assassination.
Yeah, but assassination. So they're working towards that. They're using Tommy as the fall guy for that because they're setting him up to where he does it, and then they turn around and they convict him. Despite Campbell saying, you're fine. You're not going to get prosecuted. He's lying through his teeth because he told Churchill in no uncertain terms that Thomas Shelby was headed for the end of a noose.
Yeah. I love when Tommy was talking to Inspector Campbell afterwards, and he said, I made arrangements in case I die, and Chester's getting all kind of cocky about it. He's like, oh, I bet that's hard to do. Thinking of like the religious side of arrangements. But what Tommy was meaning was like the logistical side, like getting, how his money will be distributed to his family and stuff. But then he adds in, oh yeah, by the way, I did this all because I'm expecting the possibility that I'll die. But I also put in a word with somebody I trust. If I die, you die.
yeah. If I die, you die. Yeah. Really setting the stage, because he's basically telling him, I'm not the idiot you think I am.
Because Chester Campbell's acting all cocky about it when he brings that up. But then once he says that, you can see like his face kind of fall. Like, damn it. Damn it. He has a contingency. Damn it. We also got to see in this episode, we got to see Grace again.
Yep, we got to see Grace again at the very end of the episode. Thomas calls Grace's apartment in New York. He gets her new husband, and he immediately hangs up with
But
her.
It wasn't really the apartment in New York, because the new husband says to Grace after he hangs up, something about the phone lines being terrible in London, I think it was.
Yeah.
Which means that they're in London.
No,
or England or something.
Oh, I thought he meant like the phone lines were terrible in London, like that's where the call was coming from.
Oh no, because there is no way for him to know where it was coming from.
That's true. They have caller ID back then.
Yeah. Well, who knows with the music choices? Maybe they'll show like somebody pop out a cell phone out of nowhere.
What else happened?
Well, the Peaky Blinders took over one of Sabine's clubs.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders took over. That was an amazing, violent scene. There were other fights that happened in the episode. But I think that covers like all the significant events of the episode.
Well, let's say the episode started with, I believe it was Tommy paying the family of I think it was the guy that died in prison.
Yeah, the guy that paying the family. I remember that was.
And you get this kind of sense of like a raising hostility of people that are kind of caught in the machinations of his plans.
Yeah.
Because we got this already with Arthur, when, the person that he beat to death when his mom came in and visited him, and her kind of reaction, having him kind of think about that. So I think this is like a theme that's yet to be completely paid off in this season, of like the idea of the consequences of their actions and that. So it just feels like it's foreshadowing towards something happening as a result of all this. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the direction things are going in. It looks like Alfie and Sabine are going to team up against the Blinders. I don't necessarily think that Alfie's being genuine when he says that to Sabine, though.
He might be.
I have a feeling he's kind of playing Sabine.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's kind of playing Sabine too. Like he's using this as an opportunity to like fuck him over.
Because it was interesting watching, because Tom Hardy's take on Alfie Solom's is it's weird, because it's like, it's clearly like heightened, hyper aware, and intelligent, but there's also this weird kind of like buffoonery to his character, and it was much stronger in the scene with Darby Sabini, and I feel like this is his way of playing certain people. Like, I don't think he plays that as much on Tommy because he knows that Tommy would see through it, but he kind of plays it like as if he's stupid, or as if he's kind of like plays everything based on emotions when that's not true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of falsehood in kind of like the public perception of Alfie and like who he is. Like, he's kind of purposely established himself as this kind of buffoonish person that kind of, does all this shit because of an insult or something, and that's not at all what it is. So at least that's the impression I'm getting. Trying to think what else we got this episode. There's more with, Michael Gray, Polly's son. That was actually kind of brutal when Polly's son Michael has a friend who's black, and they go to a bar because that's the only way that they'll serve him at a bar is if he's with a Peaky Blinder. And Michael's now a Peaky Blinder. He's involved in their business. And, his friend is like, they're at the bar, they're trying to get drinks. Of course, some racist comes up, starts trying to stir some shit up. It leads into a full-on brawl until the bartender's finally like completely freaked out, and you can tell he's like out of his mind, like, scared shitless, and basically says, stop now. Do you have any idea who that is?
Yeah, pretty much. That leads to that dude getting all kinds of fucked up later. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. That was what was brutal, because you see afterwards that guy is just, destroyed by the Shelby brothers. Not Tommy, but it's Arthur and John, who just go and just completely fuck the guy up. As like, and Michael's like, you didn't have to do that for me. And they're like, we didn't do it for you. We did it for our name. Like, basically saying nobody can fuck with us. It can't stand. Like, it's gonna look bad on us. Again, this, I think, plays into the whole idea that there's something coming up having to do with the consequences of their actions. With like the smaller people in the town. I feel like there's a plot thread dangling, that has to do with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode. The only other thing we got was, we saw, Tommy's sister, Ada, is, renting out, well, not really renting, rooms in her place to kind of, freeloaders, I guess you could say. It kind of goes with her whole, communist mentality. It's like a writer is one of the people that's staying with her, for example, who can't afford to pay rent, so she's just kind of providing it for him. So it's interesting that, Thomas's gifter is like playing right into her politics.
Yeah, right.
But that's pretty much it. I mean, we have more to come. 2 more episodes in the season.
Done with season 2. I just read the episode description of next episode. It sounds like shit gets real fast.
It's gonna have to, because I mean, you got 2 episodes left, and you have a story that it feels like it's just at its starting stages, like it's just in the build-up, which means with only 2 episodes left, a hell of a lot's gotta happen in that span. So I'm excited to see what's happening with that. I also love the kind of comment they made about prohibition and how they're using the alcohol to ship it off to New York to wealthy people, which again just kind of makes this weird parallel between this show and Boardwalk Empire. It's almost as if they can exist on the same world. Like, I almost expect characters from Boardwalk Empire to show up on the show as like his business contacts in New York or whatever.
Yeah, I know, right? That would be awesome.
Because it's like so connected on that sense of just the idea of the prohibition, bootlegging business and stuff that's going on. So but that's Peaky Blinders season 2, episode 4, or episode 10 of the series as a whole. We will be discussing episode 11 as the series as a whole, season 2, episode 5, the penultimate episode of season 2 next week. If you want to watch along with us, catch up. It's on Netflix. You only got 11 episodes to watch to be right on track with us, and what we'll be talking about next week. So that's it for our show discussion. If you want to send a comment to us on any of the topics we address, you can go ahead and send those to the weekly set at TVEnthusiast.com or contact at TVEnthusiast.com. You can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. Will is at Voxel Hero. You could leave a comment in the article or on the YouTube channel. Any way you can reach out and get in contact with us. If we find your comment, we'll talk about it on the show. So that's it. One last thing before we go, I wanted to say that we got some cool stuff coming up this weekend that I just wanted to alert everybody to. Friday, it'll be Friday when this episode's up. So it's basically, for me, it's in 2 hours from when we're recording this right now. Stranger Things will be up on Netflix.
Yes.
So excited for this. The more that I see from it, the more I'm excited about it. This is going to be my new TV obsession, I think. Will's new TV obsession is Mr. Robot. I've already seen season 1, so this is my new TV obsession.
It might be my new TV obsession, too. We don't know.
Well, you'll be caught up, so Mr. Robot. Vice Principals is also going to start on Sunday on HBO. This looks hilarious. It has Walton Goggins from Justified and Danny McBride from Eastbound and Down, playing vice principals in competition with each other to become the principal of the school. It looks hilarious. I'm excited about that one as well.
Me too. I'm looking forward to that one as well.
So both of those are coming up this weekend, so check those out. And until next